What's up, everyone? Sony here from the underground. You know what time it is. Um, Today I'm gonna give you guys a tutorial, advanced snare tutorial, and a lot of producers use techniques that I will show you guys today, or assortment of techniques. I was actually going over the deadmau5 masterclass. I don't know if you guys seen that, and I'll probably put up a review of that soon. But I realized there were certain techniques in there, most of them that I knew already, and there were certain tips that I didn't really know. So let's get started. I'll show you guys what's up. All right, so here I got this drum pattern. Very simple. Alright, so very generic, very simple. If you guys were wondering what samples I used the default kick that you get when you open um, FL Studio, as well as the default clap that you get when you open it, okay? So the first thing that's very important is obviously layering, right? If you want to make advanced snare sounds. Layering can be done in a couple of ways. One of the ways that I like to do it is I like to get a snap. That's one of my signature sounds on on the claps or on the snares. So if I put that right now, and generally I'll have it playing either on the twos or on the fours. Okay, and you could layer it with something else as well. You could layer open hi-hat on the snare. There's a multitude of possibilities. I could do a short snare. Generally, when you layer, I talk about this in my layering tutorial as well before, but you want to get sounds that are a little bit different from each other. Okay? Next thing I do is I layer things, the same things actually. So what I will do is I'll right click on this and I'll make clone, which will make this for me right here. But as you guys can see, instead of just playing the normal pitch, I pitched it up. So and I layer this with the original so that it sounds like this. You could actually just do this with the original. For example, you could just pitch this up. This is another thing that I like to do. You will clone it, and then you would have, whether it's on the 2 or on the 4, you would have the one pitched up slightly, like maybe like 2 semitones, or down 2 semitones. 1 or 2 semitones. Mess around with it, so it would sound like this. Like that, and that gives more variety. So that's one of the things you guys could do. But here what I did is what I like to call wide to narrow. Now this is what I called you're making little time shifts in the pitch. Never mind, I'll cover wide to narrow soon. So what I did is I took this clap sample, and as you guys could see, I moved it a little bit in milliseconds to the front, and I layered it with the original clap sample. So check it out. So this creates that very like a whole type of wall, instead of it just hitting on the beat all the time and sounding very robotic. It has this clap, and it sounds like there's multiple claps hitting at the same time, because if you get a group of people to clap at the same time, you're never gonna get each other to clap exactly on time, right? So that's sort of what you do. You could delay it a little bit, as well, instead of putting it forward a little bit. So that's one of the techniques that you could use. Nicky Romero uses this, deadmau5 uses this, a bunch of producers use this technique. Third thing I like to do is what I call wide to narrow. Okay, and this is like one of my specific techniques. But there's actually quite a number of producers who do this as well. You know, like you could hear AU5 using this, or you could hear if you hear more of the dubstep producers, like yeah, Seven Lions, all of them use it. So wide to narrow basically means I have this initial clap sound. Okay, I have initial clap sound set to very wide. You know, this controls the separation, stereo separation, right? So this will be mono. Let me split it out. This will be. That sounds very mono. And this sounds very stereo, right? So to the side more. What I do is I get, like you guys see, I have the initial one hitting very wide, and then the second one hitting relatively narrow. Okay, so it creates the sound of wide to narrow, like that. Okay, and I'll do an A/B comparison on this so you guys can know what I mean. This is the wide to narrow one. This is the normal one. So did you guys get that? Didn't get that, rewind it, play it back again. So wide to narrow, it creates a more stereo image, wider feeling, you know, wider sound, all of that stuff. And the last thing, one of the last things that I like to do is what I call, I like to sidechain or duck the snare reverb. Okay, and this might not be so good in terms of if you're trying to make a dubstep track or something, but if you want to make a house, like any kind of house, future house, progressive house, you name it, but if you want to make any of that kind of sound, then routing it to a separate bus to have it sidechained, you know, look up how to sidechain, you know, how to sidechain your kick or your drums, and then you'll find out what I mean. Okay, and I'll have the reverb so that it plays exactly, you know, exactly after the clap. Okay, so. Like I said, in this kind of genre, it doesn't really suit. But if I had it on every beat, like on a build up or a breakdown, and then you guys could go here, and then let's say we're having a breakdown, right? So, for example, let's say for example we're having a breakdown. One of the things that you can do is, okay, you're having the breakdown, the build up, and then you're having boom, the drop at the end, right? So I'll put up the reverb level of this, so it sounds like this. So it creates that pumping effect, and you could have a pretty unique and at the same time pretty interesting build-up. Reverb, a lot of producers use reverb, like KSHMR, right? Like he uses reverb, whether that's in build-ups or drops, to get a more pumping effect and create more excitement in the background while the main melody or the main drums are playing. Using techniques like this, you know, they will automate reverb. So I hope you guys learned something today, and I'll see you guys next time around. Peace out.